Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for the brief delay. You were here for the U.S. men's national team camp in Columbus ahead of the World Cup qualifier against Costa Rica. 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2, ESPN Plus, Unimas, Today NA, and Sirius XM Radio. Today we'll be joined by U.S. men's national team defender Anthony Robinson, followed by head coach Gregg Berhalter. If you'd like to get in a queue to ask Anthony a question, you may do so now by raising your hand. And we will start with Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Anthony, I wonder what it was like for you to have to kind of watch the game and kind of unfold from a distance, and considering the result, what the mentality is going into tomorrow's game against Costa Rica, and the mood. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really disappointing having to watch the team, especially when we're not playing as good as we know we can play. It was a bit of an off day and we didn't get the result we wanted. So having to watch and not being able to try and help out is frustrating. But going forward, it's the same message we've had throughout the whole camp. The next game's the most important game. So the mood now is we've got to go and beat Costa Rica, and the boys are obviously disappointed with the last result, but the mentality is all for the game tomorrow.
Next will be Jonathan Tannewall from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Michael and Anthony. Thanks for the time. What has it been like embarking on this World Cup qualifying journey, and games and places and opponents and all these other things that are certainly different from a lot of the rest of the world? What's it been like for you?
It's been enjoyable. Obviously, it's been still a long road to go. We've got so many games crammed into such a short amount of time, but overall, it's a big challenge. It's one that I've enjoyed being a part of, and I'm hoping that going forward, we're very successful, because the prize at the end of it's huge. Obviously, we're all dreaming to sort of play in a World Cup, so that's what we're all striving for, and we're sort of accepting this challenge in our stride.
Next will be Daniel Nora from Univision.
Hi, Anthony. How you will describe your working days here at Columbus during the team went to Panama?
We've all been at different levels, so obviously it's been me, Weston and Zach here in Columbus, and me and Zach here because of the sort of COVID protocols in the UK. Myself, I've been sort of managing a little issue I've had with my knee, so it's kind of just been a lot of treatment and strengthening while I've had the chance to sort of not play in the Panama game, so I've had a chance to recover and get myself back in shape for the next game. So it's been sort of a mixture of strengthening, physiotherapy and work yesterday on the field to make sure that I'm in as good a position as I can be for the game coming up.
Next will be Grant Wall.
Hi, Anthony. There's kind of a trend with this U.S. team lately. The U.S. hasn't scored a goal in the first half for 8 straight games now. Are there any particular factors in your mind that cause that, and what can you do as players about it?
On the whole, I don't know whether it's something everyone else thinks, but it's something I noticed myself that we don't seem to score early. I'm not sure there's much we can change for that going ahead. I think it's just a testament to that we build in confidence in games, and maybe going forward that just means that we need to be a bit more ruthless, and obviously we respect our opponents, but we need to realise how good a team we are at the same time, and maybe not be so conservative when we know we've got the quality to go and attack teams at full strength early on.
We'll go to Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Hey, Anthony. When you look at World Cup qualifying, especially in CONCACAF, it's a grind. It's a lot of games in a few days, maybe not much time to train. Like you said, you have players dealing with injuries and figuring that out. It's not unlike playing in the championship, where it's just a lot of games and a lot of different things going on over a short period of time. How does playing in the championship kind of prepare you for moments like this, where you're playing a lot of games quickly, where you're not 100%, where you're kind of dealing with all these different things?
It's definitely similar. Obviously, the biggest component is, like you said, there's a lot of games in a short period of time, a lot of travel, to different countries, different climates, and sort of very little time to adapt to those situations before you have to go and perform, and you don't get any second chances. So it's a similar token in the championship. We play a lot of games compared to a lot of other leagues. So you're used to the sort of quick turnarounds and just trying to manage your body and get them through some games, and then a lot of it's just trying to get recovered so that you're in the best state for the next game. And it's a similar situation here, which is why thankfully we're allowed a big squad, and we've got a lot of good players who we can rely on when everyone's not feeling 100%.
Next will be Ivis Galarcep from SBI Soccer.
Anthony, the last time we talked to you, I guess it was like a week or so ago, you talked about the kind of the tough time early on, kind of adapting to the system. I kind of wanted to get some detail as far as what was the toughest part for you in terms of kind of adjusting and learning the U.S. team system, and a follow-up on there's been a lot of rumors about interest in teams interested in you, and obviously there was the AC Milan move that almost came about. What has that done for you confidence-wise to have kind of teams at that level? There was the rumors about Manchester City being linked to you. What does that do for you confidence-wise, just to kind of be linked to those kind of teams and get that sense that people are appreciating your work?
Well, on a personal level, I feel like early on in my days, like as a pro, like starting off at Bolton, and even when I moved to Wigan as well. But when I first was at Wigan, a lot of the championship games, I could kind of the faults in my game, sort of technically and tactically, they were kind of pushed to the side because of my physicality. Like I could kind of just pick the ball up and run past people in the championship at that stage in my life, which made it easier, which made me look more comfortable. And then you come out to the international stage where everyone's physical, so you don't just get away with not understanding the game properly just through your physicality. So it was just sort of like developing into being more tactically aware and fitting into a system where you actually have a role, rather than at Wigan I just felt like I was a big outlet who could get the ball and drive the team forward pretty much all the time, which didn't work out for the US early on. And what you said confidence-wise about being linked with clubs, especially after the AC Milan thing, like for me personally, I kind of just it's obviously nice to see things like that, but I don't really take too much out of it, because I just want to get on with the job that I'm doing at the club I'm at. And like, you never know what's going to happen in football. I don't like to get my hopes up for anything, so I kind of just work hard where I'm at, and the rest will take care of itself another time.
We'll go to Sam Stejskal.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Anthony. Hope you're doing well. Obviously, Costa Rica, they've only allowed 3 goals in qualifying so far. I'm curious what you see in them, if you think they'll come out kind of in a low block, and if so, what you guys have learned from the Canada game and the Jamaica first half, when they were kind of defending pretty deep and staying organized, on how to break that down and get the goals you need.
I think there's going to be a lot of games in this sort of World Cup qualifying schedule where the teams they're going to respect us that much as an opponent, that they're going to be sitting in a low block and they're going to try and hope to sort of cancel us out offensively, and then hopefully for themselves counter and get goals. So it's going to be something we're going to have to get used to, not just for Costa Rica but for a lot of games. It's definitely, I don't think it's going to be similar to the friendly we had against Costa Rica in the summer where we I think that ended up 4-0 maybe that game. It's going to be a lot tougher than that now. There's a lot more on the line than just a friendly in the summer. So I think the main key is just going to be that we have to sort of stick to the roles that we've been given, not get frustrated when every attack doesn't come off just because they're sitting in a low block and it's tough to break down, and be patient, still be aggressive and on the front foot trying to score, but just be patient with our play and trying to get goals.
Next will be Pamela Solano.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you. Pamela Solano, Radio Colombia, Costa Rica. What can you tell us about Costa Rica, and what kind of match do you expect for tomorrow? Thank you.
I'm assuming it's going to be a very tough game. They don't give up a lot of goals, Costa Rica, so it's going to be a game where we're going to have to be patient, and we're going to have to sort of not get frustrated when we're not breaking them down too easily all the time. At the same time, we're going to have to be very focused and switched on that we don't concede, because they're going to obviously have threats going forward, and in a World Cup qualifier anything can happen. So as long as we stick to our game plan and we're on the front foot, I feel confident that we can go and win.
We'll go to Pilar Perez from ESPN.
Hi, Anthony. We've seen a lot of different starting lineups recently, and I just wanted to know how you feel about that and how's the internal competition.
There's a lot of competition for places. Everyone's dying to get on the field to play in these games because they're massive games and you want to be the one on the pitch trying to affect these games. We obviously play 3 games in 6 days. It's very tough, especially coming off of the back of some tough club schedules as well. So there's bound to be rotation and a lot of things happen internally in camps that don't get seen by everyone else. So obviously every game the manager's going to put out the team that he thinks is going to be the best team to go and win the game at that time, along with the fact that knowing that the next game he's going to have to rotate players and stuff. So I think it's completely normal that we've had so much rotation.
We'll take 2 more questions for Anthony, beginning with Claudio Villalobos.
Thank you, Michael. Anthony, we've heard of you guys, and especially Greg, saying that you worry much more about what you do in preparation for every game. It seems like the U.S. has been playing, obviously, and understandable better under the better conditions here at home than what happens when they go to what they've been in Central America, and that's understandable also. But Costa Rica seems to be one of those teams in the qualifiers that is coming from low to up lately. Does that make the Costa Rican team a little more dangerous coming home?
Yeah, it definitely could do. Obviously, they're going to come. They're going to come to our stadium. It's going to be a really good atmosphere. It's going to be a nice pitch in a new stadium, and they're going to be giving everything. Like I've said in previous interviews before, when people play against us, it's going to be one of their biggest games of this qualifying window, home or away. So that fires teams up a lot more, and that just makes every opponent we're going to play more dangerous than they might necessarily be against another team. So that's something we're aware of, and we know we've got to keep our heads about that and just try and keep switched on about what we're doing, but be aware that they're going to give everything.
Our last question comes from Estefan Monge from Costa Rica.
Thank you. Hello, Anthony. Do you consider that there is pressure when you're playing against Costa Rica? Thank you.
Yeah, there's of course there's pressure. I mean, Costa Rica are only 2 points below us in the table, so losing against them, they'd go above us. And at the moment, we're just trying to win every single game as it comes. And a win against Costa Rica would put us in a brilliant spot at the end of this window. So there's definitely pressure on the game. There's pressure on all the games because of what's at stake at the end of it. It's qualifying for the World Cup. So individually, each game has pressure. This game definitely has pressure, but that's the sort of pressure we enjoy.
Thank you, Anthony. We'll be right back with Gregg Berhalter.
Thanks, everyone.
We are now joined by the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, Gregg Berhalter. We will begin with questions and start with Ronald Blum from the Associated Press.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, Ron.
Was the decision not to have Weston available to the media made by him or by you? And without him commenting on what's occurred, why should the official accounts be believed by us or the public?
That's a tough one, Ron. I don't understand the question. Can you ask it again?
Is Weston the one who's refusing to speak to reporters, or are you not making him available? And without him talking, why should what's come out so far be believed by everyone?
Well, I think we have a track record of being open and honest with the media. And, when this whole thing happened, I think we were really upfront with the circumstances. Without getting into details, I think we talked about, in general terms, and that's what a team's about. I don't think it's our job, to have to disclose everything to the media. I think we're upfront in saying what happened, the consequences of what happened. He took responsibility for what happened. And then as far as he's concerned and we're concerned, or as far as we're concerned, it's something that we move forward from. In terms of his availability for media, that it's a personal choice, and I support Weston in that, and it's a decision that he has to make for himself, and it is what it is. His focus right now is on the field, and I think he demonstrated that Thursday night against Jamaica, showing that he's focused on helping the team win and doing his job, and I can't ask anything more of that.
Next will be Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
Thanks for your time. Speaking of Weston, how's he coming along? Do you expect him to be available tomorrow? And what were some of the things I guess he did during the time you were in Panama?
Yeah, so we stayed back with a trainer and a physical preparation coach, and we worked him, Anthony and Zach out. And we're gathering information as we speak. Weston's status. He pushed it a little bit yesterday, and the signs are he's making progress, but we'll have to see today in training.
Next, we'll go to Brian Strauss from Sports Illustrated.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Brian.
All four players that we heard from after the game in Panama referenced a lack of intensity, energy, or confidence. Those were words that they used. Do you have any insight into how that happens collectively in a group? And is there anything you can do as a staff to prevent it? And should there be concern about starts in general? I mean, obviously the intensity was there in Austin, but it's now been 8 games since you scored a first half goal. Is that just a coincidence, or is that a stat that reflects a real issue?
That's a good question. Regarding the Panama performance, we looked at it with the group. We discussed it with the group, and we were off, man. Make no mistake about it. It was not a good game by us, and I think we were a little bit slow getting to our positions to press, too many times pressing, which caused problems. Then it causes a lot of energy on your group. Offensively, I didn't think there was enough movement off the ball. Our expected goal value was very low in that game, which is an issue. But I think when I look at some of these games, I think we created chances in the first half. We didn't always score them, and all of these games are tight. I mean, that's, I think, the first thing that we need to understand. Like, the games you're referencing, Brian, are either tournament games or World Cup qualifier games. And look at the score lines across the board of all these games, man. They're 1-goal games. They're super tight games. Save for the Mexico game that Honduras got a red card early in the game. These are tight games, man. They're not going to be blowouts. And it's for us. It's about the key moments of the game. It's about staying focused. It's about bringing that intensity. And these are things that we all talked about.
We'll go to Pamela Solano.
Hi, Greg. Thank you. Pamela Solano, Radio Colombia, Costa Rica. How difficult is it to plan a game where both teams need to win where if Costa Rica wins, they get over you guys on the standings, and knowing that any little detail may give the victory to either one of the teams. How difficult is it to plan a match like this?
That's every game. You know, every game is the same equation. You know, we've been doing this, you know, since Nations League semifinal and final, Gold Cup. We've been doing it in the qualifiers. That, you know, that's the business we're in. Is every game matters and every game is important. And you know, this game is no more important than the Panama game was, and no more important than Jamaica and Canada and Honduras. All these games, you know, hold equal value. So for us, we've been doing it, and we just keep focused.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Greg, I wonder your impressions of this Costa Rican team. I think in the country there's been some criticism of how old this team is, the veterans that they're leaning on. Obviously, he called in two players, Bolaños and Saborio, who are 37 and 39. And do you expect them to play in a low block? And if so, what have you learned from Canada and the first half against Jamaica about kind of the best ways to try to break that down, and what's the message to the team if that's what you see? Thank you.
Yeah, it's movement off the ball. It's changing positions. You know, it's quick combinations. You know, these things are very important. It's still threatening their back line, even if it's compact. You know, and Costa Rica is, you know, one thing I'd say, it's a veteran team, but it's a group that's, you know, that's been through it. You know, a lot of these guys played in the 2014 World Cup together, you know, and this is a group that's been together for a long time, and there's certainly strength in that, and there's certainly an advantage to that. For us, it's just the opposite. You know, we're a young up-and-coming team, and we have to use that to our advantage.
Next will be Daniel Nora from Univision.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hey, Daniel.
Almost 200 games as a Columbus manager in the past. How special is to be back in this city? Not only for you, for Zach and Jesse too. Same city, new stadium.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from that? And if you have some feeling about being back here?
It's an amazing feeling. You know, it's almost like you know, a dream come true. You know, I spent a long portion of my coaching career here. Have some great memories. You know, the fans are original fans of Major League Soccer. They're the ones that go back since day one, and you know, it's a special environment. You know, I'm really excited to play in the new stadium, and you know, it's a fantastic stadium, fantastic training ground. You know, to see the progress the club has made, you know, since I've been gone in 2018 is amazing. You know, world-class facilities, top-of-line stadium, won a championship. So you know, it's something special, and I'm really looking forward to this game.
Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Jeff.
Just kind of piggybacking off of Brian Strauss's question earlier, you know, after a game like you had against Panama, I mean, how much of an impulse is there to tweak things in terms of your preparation? I mean, do you want to change some things? Do you want to keep it the same? You know, what's your thought process there?
Well, I don't think we want to keep it the same in terms of the performance, right? We definitely want to improve the performance. It's something, you know, we weren't happy with. I think there was an opportunity lost in that game. You know, even though Panama has a good home record and you know, for the last 3 cycles, and it's an older team, experienced team, you know, I think we missed an opportunity to get a minimum a point in that game. And that's something that we regret and we're disappointed with. You know, for us, it's about getting back to what we do well, and that's movement off the ball. That, you know, it's everything we talked about pre-Jamaica game is exactly what's back on the stage now. And you know, part of the idea was to get 7 fresh guys on the field and really make Panama pay, and we didn't do that, and that's disappointing. And you know, we're certainly focused on that now in this game.
Next, we'll go to Grant Wall.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Grant.
So with these 3-game windows, recovery seems like it's more important than ever before. What sort of specific things is your staff doing to promote recovery ahead of this 3rd game that you maybe haven't done in the past?
Yeah, it's, you know, what aren't we doing, I think, is a better question. You know, we're going through all stops here. Cryotherapy, floating tanks, recovery labs set up in the hotel. Normatec, you name it, we're doing it. Flushing right after the game, so immediately that night we stayed in Panama. We did recovery there. The guys that played got flushes. The travel time was all programmed. You're right. The priority now is on recovery and performing in the next game. And I think we're in a good spot based on what we've been doing.
Next will be Henry Bushnell from Yahoo.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Henry.
Just to follow up on Jeff's question from earlier, did Sunday's result or Sunday's performance at all change the way that you're now approaching tomorrow's game, or have you always had a plan in mind for Costa Rica that's relatively unaffected by Sunday?
Yeah, I think every game is different, and we take one game at a time. We evaluate that game. We look to improve based on that game and go from there. It will be a different game, obviously, on Wednesday night. We know it's going to be a different game, different opponent, playing at home, playing in front of great fans, loud atmosphere, and we want to use that momentum of a home game for sure. We expect a compact opponent, and we're just going to have to deal with it. But to me, I think the aggression, the determinedness to play forward and break lines and connect with each other and combine is really important. And I think, in the game against Panama, I was most concerned with our offense, not the defense. We gave up a 0.7 expected goals in that game, which isn't terrible on the road. But offense, we produced very little, and that's something disappointed with. Our final ball wasn't there. And, these longer spells of possession weren't there to really hurt the opponent and make them run.
We'll go to Sam Stejskal from The Athletic.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks, Greg. Hope you're doing well. Anthony was talking about expecting a low block from Costa Rica, compact defense, like you just mentioned. He mentioned the importance of staying patient when an attack doesn't come off and players remaining within their specific roles, just to kind of help break that down over time. You've talked a little bit about it already, but I'm wondering the importance of those two things, of the patience and staying within yourself, and breaking down that compact defense, which can be frustrating.
Yeah, I think the patience is important, but the intention needs to be to want to score goals. So I think there's a mix between, patience and being deliberate. We want to break lines. We want to play behind their lines. We want to get the ball in front of goal. We want to give them a difficult time, and that's the important part of this game. We have home fans. It will be a great atmosphere, and we want to capitalize on that. We know what it's like playing away in front of fans, and we want to have that same type of advantage. So there's going to be patience will need to be involved. We don't need to be frustrated if we don't score a goal in the first 5 minutes. You stick to the plan, but you still remain deliberate and intentional about what you're trying to do attacking-wise.
We'll go to Kaishmir Gomez from ESPN Costa Rica.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hello.
Kaishmir Gomez here from ESPN. I would like your opinion about the Costa Rica development in the last 5 games. Do you think that Costa Rica continues to be one of the greatest teams in the area in comparison with Mexico and USA? Is one of the favorites to qualify to Qatar 2022? Thank you.
I think Costa Rica has a very strong team. The strength of the Costa Rican team is their experience. They have players that have been through this before. They know exactly what it's about, and that's an advantage for them. Navas, I think, is one of the best goalies in the region. They got a experienced back line with Brian Ruiz and Celso Borges. They have experienced midfielders. To me, it's a team that knows exactly how to get this job done. There's no surprise that they clawed their way back into this thing because it's a resilient team and a difficult team to beat.
We'll take 2 more questions for Greg and start with Ivis Galarcep from SBI Soccer.
Greg, obviously, squad rotation is going to be important with this tight window, tight schedule, and you have to trust the tests and you have to trust the kind of the readings on the players and their workloads. But how tough was it sitting guys who were in such good form like Brendan Pepe, Tyler, Miles Robinson? How kind of tough was that, watching that, and then seeing how the team came out? As far as Anthony goes, he mentioned earlier when he talked that early on you relied too much on his physical gifts and he didn't really kind of get the tactical side of things. When did you see him did you see him flip a switch there, or when did you see him start to kind of figure out the tactical side and kind of fit in better with the system and understand your system?
You know, I think that's a great example of club and country working together. And Fulham, you know, under Scott Parker, I think, you know, played really good soccer. Under this coach now, they play really good soccer. And, you know, so it's a combination of the things that we're asking of him are very similar to what his club's asking from him. So he's, you know, his learning has increased, and he's able to handle all that. But I agree with his assessment early on, but that's also the development of a player. You know, in terms of squad rotation, you know, one thing I want to make completely clear is when I took responsibility for the result the other day, you know, it was not aimed at the choice of players, you know, because, you know, we believe in every single player in this squad, and I don't regret in any moment, you know, playing that lineup. You know, I regret more of, you know, our performance and some of the attacking adjustments we could have made in that game to be more mobile, to be moving more, but not personnel. When you look at Pepe, for example, he's 18 years old and there's a huge amount of expectation put on him, but there's also been a huge workload put on him. You know, prior to this camp, he's played 3 90-minute games in a week with Dallas. He played the Jamaica game however long he played, and he, you know, he was fatigued. So our idea is to protect an 18-year-old player and give him some rest and help him recover and get him ready for another game. You know, with a number of guys, you know, I talked about the Tyler decision also. We knew he was going to be important down the road. And, you know, if we say we're a group and we say we're a team, it's the next man up mentality. And unfortunately, we didn't get it done. But, you know, this game, you know, we're hoping to have a much better performance.
Last question goes to Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Greg. Anthony was on a few minutes ago. He said, I don't remember exactly what the phrasing was, but some sort of minor knee injury issue. Perhaps Michael will know exactly what it is. But, you know, in your assessment, is he ready to go tomorrow night?
He's another guy that we'll test in training. You know, we have Weston and him that we're going to test in training today and see. Right now, we don't have enough information to make that decision.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for everyone for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow.